Hello and welcome to Hawk and Ken Survive. This is a new podcast that we're going to be doing from time to time. Over the course of the month of January, Hawk, Ripjaw, and myself are going to each week cover a week's worth of shitty movies in different areas. We're starting this week with the Madea films. Madea?
I think it's Madea. It should be noted, however, that given my well-documented love of bad movies, and of course yours as well, to a different extent, these are not movies that are so bad that you can laugh at them. These are movies that are painful to watch and that kind of give you this sort of emptiness inside after you see them. And
Yes.
What it did for me this week is it ruined my appetite for movies altogether. We were talking last night about me going to go see a couple movies today, maybe one, maybe two. I didn't see anything. I was like, you know what, Manchester by the Sea. I've watched enough depressing movies this week, and
Different kind of depressing.
Different kind of depressing.
So what we're planning on doing with this isn't going to be a regular podcast. For the month of January. This year we're gonna kind of launch a few episodes, and then we're gonna use this sort of as a once in a while, if we feel like punishing ourselves for a week, we'll come up with another week's worth of episodes for you, or an episode based on our discussion of a week's worth of garbage films.
Right.
So speaking of garbage films, Tyler Perry. Before we get into the movies themselves, we need to discuss that Tyler Perry, in many ways, is kind of an admirable figure. He's the American dream. He's really the first African-American to have his own highly successful movie studio that is independently operating outside of the prime Hollywood system. His films are regularly made for fairly low budgets and usually bring in a solid amount of money. I mean, there's a lot you can say about him from a business perspective, at least. That is a huge boon to African American cinema in many ways. The problem is his movies are some bullshit.
They suck. Like you can say that Tyler Perry is a very shrewd businessman, which is good to a certain extent, but he gets movies done quickly. He gets them done cheaply. I mean, Madea Halloween, which you did not watch, but I did when it first came out so I could review it. It was filmed in a week. And it looked like it. So that's what I'm getting at is that, he's
in many ways you could...
The quality of the finished product
yes.
Makes that, I don't want to call it corner cutting, but it kind of is. It makes that shrewdness and that penny pinching very evident.
You could call him in many ways. You could call him sort of the African American Roger Corman, except with the difference being Roger Corman actually had some talent behind him.
Or the African American Steven Soderbergh, because he has a similar approach to movies, doesn't he? Getting it done quick and dirty, except not so dirty.
Well, I mean, I can't say that I have gone to the school of Tyler Perry film, but it has to be a similar regard. And now it's worth noting that when I say Tyler Perry movies are successful, I mean that in a big way. Movies such as Tyler Perry's Madea Goes to Jail, which we'll be talking about a little bit later, was made on a very sensible budget. And my understanding is it was significantly less than $10 million. And that movie brought in like $90 million in the box office. And there's a ton of examples like that. It's when you make when you're able to make movies cheap and fast, and you have a group of an audience, a captive audience who will go out to see your movies. It's like become a family event. That is, that equals financial success. And the reason why I'm focusing so much on the financial success aspect of it is probably to delay the fact that we're going to be talking about some movies here. So I better let me go ahead and just, we did not go chronologically here, and our goal was to watch specifically the Medea films. Now, not necessarily movies in which Medea appears, but movies in which Medea is in the title of the movie. I was going to say main character, but as most of these films prove, she's never the main character in her own movies.
Well, yeah, the intention was when she was the main character, but us having not seen any of these, I mean, I've seen Christmas before. She is more of the main character in that one than in the other ones, but like you say, to your point, even though the movie might be called Medea's Big Happy Family, Medea's in maybe, I don't know, 30% of the movie.
The Medea films are very much ensemble pieces, which is giving it way more credit than it probably deserves. But we did not go chronologically. We instead kind of chose randomly the order to go in. We started with a Medea Christmas, and we proceeded from there to watching Medea Goes to Jail. And then we watched Medea's Witness Protection. And
I thought we watched...
oh, no, Big Happy Family, and then
Family,
Witness Protection.
And then Witness Protection, and then Family Reunion.
Which was actually the first film with Medea in the title.
So we almost went in reverse chronological order. Almost.
In retrospect, we may as well have. But
yeah.
So we'll start with Medea Christmas. Hawk, what did you think of a Medea Christmas?
Well, when I first saw it, when it came out in December 2013, made me really upset. No, it was 2011. Holy shit. Oh.
Yeah, the movie came out in 2013, so it couldn't have been 2011.
Oh wait, no, 2011 was the play. That's right.
Yeah, I mean, unless did you see the play?
No, fuck that. No, I saw the movie, and when I got out of the movie, half of the town had no power.
Oh wow!
It's like, wow, this movie was so bad that the power went out.
It drained the electricity.
Like the hatred that I had for this movie just sucked it all out. But at least Wendy's had power, so I got to have some Wendy's. It was a terrible movie. It sucks. I mean, I realize this actually ends up kind of being a staple of the movie of all of his movies. This is the first Medea film I saw, and it looked cheaply made.
And the movie was made for, by the way, a $25 million budget, which, considering this movie looks like it could have been made for Lifetime television, I think that most of that probably went to the actors.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Which, I mean, I'm curious how much of that specifically went to paying Larry the Cable Guy to pull up and appear in the movie.
I was going to say that too. It's probably a lot of it went to Larry the Cable Guy.
And this movie is, to put it softly, this movie is basically a modern day version of your classic Christmas, classic Lifetime original Christmas concept, in that you have the plot revolves around this town that's suffering financially, and the big company has dammed the river, and for some reason that's causing crops to fail, and which, I mean, that has happened in times, moving waterways causing.
Which is weird because you'd think that in 2013, I'm pretty sure there's better ways to water your crops than hope the nearby river has enough water.
Well,
and I'm not a farmer, so I don't know.
And there are legitimate problems that can be caused by that. So I'm not going to get into that element of it. But what happens is the town is in need of money, and apparently that they're putting on this Christmas Jubilee because the school doesn't have enough funds to do it. They get a sponsor, and the sponsor turns out to be the company that built the dam. And
there's also a black lady who's married to a white farmer, and the lady has a racist mom who doesn't know they're married, and she sends Medea to check up on the girl and the daughter, who's an adult. She's a teacher at the local school slash mayor's office slash courtroom,
Right.
city hall. They filmed like 5 of these settings take place in the same goddamn house.
Oh yeah, I would guarantee you that most of this film was shot in the same location.
Oh yeah,
just redressed. But so basically, what happens is Medea, played by Tyler Perry, and then her, I guess, is supposed to be great niece, but I always thought it was her sister, named Eileen. Decide they're going to surprise Eileen's daughter for Christmas in Alabama, and Eileen's daughter, Lacey, is a school teacher who she's the one who helps to get the Christmas Jubilee funded by using an ex-boyfriend of hers to get the sponsorship from a company, which she apparently didn't know that her ex-boyfriend's company was the one that dammed the river that everyone talks about in town.
Yeah, that was a pretty significant leap of logic, or lapse of logic.
Yeah, I would expect that. But Medea comes in, and she's the one who finds out that the daughter is hiding her interracial marriage from Eileen, and because Eileen would be heartbroken if she found out her daughter had married a white man.
I mean, yeah, Eileen is literally racist.
Yes, which of course this is a theme that you'll see in every Medea film, which is a character who hides something from someone else for really no good reason, because either the person they're hiding it from doesn't deserve that kind of thought, or that person is just an awful human being in one way or another. Now, Eileen is not treated quite as badly as that. She's actually here's the thing. This was the first Medea film I'd ever seen, and I thought it was pretty bad. But then when I watched the other Medea films, I was like, oh wait, actually, she's more empathetic than most of these characters tend to be.
Yeah,
because a recurring theme amongst all Medea films is the heinous female character who has something stuck in their mind that they refuse to let go, and I think that is stemming from Tyler Perry's own experiences with women. He clearly has something, some sort of long-standing problem, I think, that has never been addressed.
Yes, Tyler Perry definitely. Nearly every single film, if not every single film, features a very foul, cruel female character, usually somebody's wife.
Right. And then what ends up happening is, to move the story along, Medea and Eileen surprise the daughter. The daughter does her best to lie and say that her husband is actually the help.
Yeah.
And works on the farm. And but then that becomes more complicated when his name is Connor. So I should give him a name. When Connor's family, which is that's where you have a woman named Kim. I forget the actor's name, and then Larry the Cable Guy shows up, and of course, Larry the Cable Guy jokes ensue.
Yes.
Pretty sure there's at least 2 midget jokes, a couple fart jokes.
Yep.
And other things that are generally playing to the base that good old Dan Whitney, a.k.a. Larry the Cable Guy,
that was
finds comedy.
One thing that was really weird, though, is they cast Larry the Cable Guy, who, I mean, is as goofy as the jokes are, he's probably the kindest and most sympathetic character in the entire movie.
Which I think was probably a matter of necessity, given that this movie doesn't have that many fully empathetic characters. And I have to say, despite the fact that I'm not a Larry the Cable Guy fan, he was probably one of the less one of the elements of the film that I disliked the least.
Oh yeah, totally.
And
of course, I mean, take that with a grain of salt, though. You say you like the least, but Nothing about this movie is likable at all.
No.
He was the least painful part.
Yeah. Well, it's sort of like how when I had my wisdom tooth taken out, the least painful part was, was when the extraction was actually happening, because they had, numbed my mouth and I could feel the scraping and everything and the pulling, but I didn't feel anything. So that was the least painful part of the entire process. So I could say objectively that I preferred that to the soreness for 3 or 4 days afterwards, or the stabbing sensation of getting the needle jammed in my mouth beforehand.
Are you describing the wisdom tooth or watching this movie?
Kind of both.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah. So, long story short, there are so many little stupid plot threads in here that make up the soap opera of the story that I'm not going to bother going. In fact, because we have 5 movies to cover, we're not going to go into a deeper synopsis. What I will say is that what this movie does well is it actually feels like a Lifetime original Christmas movie. And if you've seen those, it's a movie that you could turn on in the background and when company's over, and no one will be particularly that offended by what they're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is, that is the heaping of praise that I can say about this. What the movie does poorly is the editing, the performances,
mm-hmm.
the writing,
the
art direction, those terrible. Were you about to talk about the
scene transitions?
The scene transitions using
the Star Wars screen wipe dressed up in very low grade, probably free asset CGI Christmas shit.
It looks like the kind of stock transition effect that you would get by if when you got like a $50 video editing studio in the 90s, you would have these transitions you could use, like the star wipe and such, but then they would have the Christmas theme, and it's like, here's a bunch of ornaments wiping the screen.
Yeah. I mean, it really is. You really have to. I'm not saying see this movie, but you really have to see it to believe it for how bad these scene transitions are. First of all, who uses the fucking wipe besides Star Wars?
Well, I mean, Star Wars did take it from like Flash Gordon and
sure.
Stuff like that. Well, here's another thing I will say in a positive. A Medea Christmas is actually the shortest of all of these movies, at 100 minutes long.
Yes, it is. And the other thing too is that speaking of cartoonishly bad, Chad Michael Murray as the other redneck dad.
Oh yeah, as the unforgiving redneck dad who beats
probably beats his son and his wife. Actually, he does, right? He slaps them a few times.
Yeah, straight up slaps them, and yet by the end of the movie, he's forgiven and all is okay because he's Christian, and Christians.
It's not just that. You. It's not just that. Is it? So he's always talking about his crops. He's like, "Oh, my corn." No one else is gonna do corn in this town besides me. Even though Connor has a secret strain of corn that doesn't require as much water. And every time they mention this, the rest of the script just exercises a superhuman effort to avoid having to get into the details of how this technology works.
Exactly.
It's like, wow, how does it work? It's like, well, I'm still working on the details. But yeah, to your point, when Chad Michael Murray becomes good, it takes the racist Eileen finding his flipped and about to explode truck on the side of the road and helps pull him out. And all of a sudden, Eileen's not mad about Connor and Kim being married, or Lacey. I mean, Chad Michael Murray isn't mad about the crops anymore. Like literally, just with that 60-second scene, everything is okay.
Chad Michael Murray is really the saddest of the Murray brothers, isn't he?
What are the other Murray brothers?
I was an attempt at a Bill Murray. Brian Doyle Murray joke.
That only works with the Baldwin brothers.
Yeah.
And then I think I can't remember. I think I put it in my review on Movie Boozer that I had a drinking game of I take a drink every time somebody says Christmas Jubilee.
Oh yeah.
Which is a downright dangerous game to play. Everybody talks about. They say the fucking Christmas Jubilee like 20 times in this movie at least.
That, and if you drink every time someone says Jesus.
I didn't think it was that much. They did that much because there's the part where everybody was upset that the company doesn't want them to use any Jesus references.
It comes up quite a bit in the movie, especially towards the end. So it's one of those things where it'll get you going, and then by the end of the movie, you'll be, drinking a shot every couple of minutes.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. That's about it, right?
Yeah, Madea Christmas doesn't have much to speak about it, other than carry the label guy, which is what I've determined to call him that going forward, because yeah, why not? So we're gonna go ahead and move on to Madea Goes to Jail, in which Madea does not go to jail for the first 72 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, but Hawk and Ken go to movie jail.
Yeah, well, we were stuck watching this movie, that's for sure.
Another thing about this movie, about Madea Goes to Jail, is that each of these films is available for rental on Amazon digital, video.
Yep.
And it's $4, money which I pointed out we could have donated to like cancer research or something, but we watched Madea movies instead.
I made the smart move, and I pressed the button where it says other purchase options, and I rented for $2.99, and that's the SD version.
This one?
Yeah, on any movie you rent on Amazon.com, just about, if you click more purchase options, you can rent the non-HD version for like $1 less.
Oh, fuck. All right. Good to know. Except for Madea Goes to Jail, this movie is not available for rental on Amazon. You have to buy it. Now, granted, it's still cheap. It's only like $5, $4, but I take umbrage to the fact that I may not give this film back after watching it.
Yeah, I will forever have that in my library. And in fact, having gone through and paid to watch all of these movies, I now realize that from now on, because I've paid to watch all of these movies, Amazon is going to recommend me more and more Tyler Perry movies to watch, and I'm not sure I can do that to myself.
Although it's gonna be funny to see Felix, who I share an Amazon with, see what her options look like, because it's gonna be just as badly messed up for her. Yeah, no, it's like going to Blockbuster and renting a movie and it sucks, and you take it back and they're like, no, fuck you, you have to keep that. No extra cost. We're not charging anymore. It's still the rental cost, but you cannot put it. He like stands in front of the drop box. Don't put it in there. You can't.
We will not accept it. And in fact, if you give it to us, we will send it back to you at our own cost.
Yes, we will mail it to your house, gun to your head, and it will go on your shelf. Now, actually, there is a button on Amazon where you can remove films from your library, at least visibly. So I did that right away with Jail. But anyway, I just wanted to point that out, is that you have to buy this movie at the rental cost.
I think I don't think I can even bring myself to do that, because I technically paid for the license to buy the movie. I can't in good conscience remove it from my library, because it's like an albatross. It will be there for forever, and I have to keep it there because it's a reminder that will tell me that this is something I've done once.
I mean, it's still in there, but I cannot in good conscience look at my video library like, oh, Greasy Strangler, Swiss Army Man. Oh, Madea Goes to Jail. Fuck.
Well, it's like the alcoholic who keeps the last empty bottle that he drank on his shelf as a constant reminder of the lowest he ever fell. That's how I feel about keeping this movie in my library.
Huh.
And so to get into the plot of Madea Goes to Jail, the plot is that Madea is in an anger management course, apparently, because because of an incident that you do not see in this movie. Apparently, there's a chase scene that was in the movie Meet the Browns, that in which Medea appears as a character but is not one of the major roles. And she's told at the beginning of the movie that she will see jail time if she's arrested again, which turns out not to be the case, because she actually does get arrested one more time in between now and the 72-minute mark, in which she does not go to jail. So that's kind of interesting. But ultimately what ends up happening is Medea kind of disappears from the movie for a good chunk of it, with the exception of a extended and completely superfluous Dr. Phil cameo sequence.
This must have come out around the time when Dr. Phil was like cameoing in a lot of stuff.
He was
a cameo. What else was he? He was a cameo in Scary Movie 3 or 4.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and pull up his IMDb page, because he has quite a few cameo appearances in films. And it was a time. The movie Medea Goes to Jail came out in 2009. And that was kind of peak Phil McGraw.
Yes.
Which is opposed to Phil McCracken. But as to movies that he's appeared in as Self, he has 88 credits on IMDb, by the way.
Yeah, I'm looking at it on Wikipedia. Sesame Street, Frasier, Scary Movie 4, he's The Simpsons, Curb Your Enthusiasm, Hannah Montana. He was on WWE Raw. What the fuck? Of course he was.
We ought to talk to Bill A or Bill L, see what they have to say about that.
Man. So yeah, she's going to get therapy from Dr. Phil.
Which turns out to, guess what, not work.
Because Dr. Phil's a fucking hack.
Yeah, and he's not actually a psychologist or trained as one. But, that he wrote a book once that was really popular, and Oprah liked it, and that made him famous. So the main plot of the film, actually, despite the movie's title, is about a district attorney named Joshua Hardaway, which is played by Derek Luke. Gotta love that name, Joshua Hardaway. That's such a it's such a butch, manly name. And anyway,
Joshua, not so much.
So he's a burgeoning district attorney, and he one day runs into a former classmate of his.
Oh, yeah, classmate.
Named Candy, who turned out to become a prostitute. And he sees this, and it really freaks him out, because he sees this person who used to be a friend and a classmate, and he wants to help her. And so he takes her out to eat, gives her his business card, tells him that, if you need help, I'm here for you. And he offers himself his friendship. Meanwhile, Joshua's girlfriend, Linda, who's also his fiancée, fills in on his behalf for Candy in court, because he can't represent her, as it's a conflict of interest. I mean, he can't not represent. As a district attorney, he can't prosecute her as a conflict of interest. And his girlfriend, of course, has the book thrown at her.
Right. This is another one of the Tyler Perry parade of just reprehensible female characters.
Linda
must have been in some kind of bad relationship, because this lady is absolutely horrible. I mean, instead of just being, I would imagine that any sensible person in a relationship, if their significant other was housing a prostitute and helping them out, and it's like, yeah, it's my former friend, and they need my help to get back on their feet, I'd be like, okay, well, let's talk about this. What's reasonable?
Exactly.
They can stay for a week or whatever,
Yeah, there is no discussion that happens here. What happens is Linda is immediately suspicious that Joshua is fucking her. She's immediately insanely jealous. She is incredibly mean to Candy, and really it's to the point of obsession. And then you find out that she's secretly also falsifying Candy's file to throw the book at her, and that she's also falsified the files of numerous other people. And this is where it makes me really laugh, specifically people from the ghetto, to have them thrown to prison, because she's so far removed from her she's so far removed from her days where she came up from the ghetto that she needs to be part of the system that specifically goes after urban threatened youth.
Yes, and she again, it's again a film about prejudice. I guess one thing I kind of have to applaud Tyler Perry for is that they don't really make it a race thing. It's a class thing.
Right.
So it shows that anybody can be prejudiced, and it's never, for lack of a better phrase, just black and white.
And that would have been, a good story to tell. I just find it fascinating that this melodrama plays out in a movie that occasionally ventures back to Medea making, fat jokes and mispronouncing things.
And that's another problem with Tyler Perry movies, is that they are extraordinarily inept at balancing tone.
Yes.
I mean, melodrama is one thing where melodrama bounces between funny stuff and sad stuff. And I actually acted in a melodrama a few years ago in high school. You Can't Take It With You, which is a great play and a really great melodrama because of the way that's what makes a good melodrama, is how the tones balance. And with that one, there would be some familial strife and everything, but still some fun stuff. Like, you'd always tell everybody loved each other, but there was no dirty laundry. There were no sudden swings of intense drama and horrible things happening to people.
And the thing about melodrama is it's heightened. There is a innate soap opera quality to the actual dramatic elements that are happening, where it's not quite written realistically, but it's written in a way that keeps things moving at a steady pace and compelling. And that's the irony of it is Tyler Perry manages to write melodramas that do not do that.
Yes.
This is not Cavalcade from. Whoa! I hear drunken yelling.
Yeah, that's my roommate.
Yep. Well, someone has not been watching Medea films recently.
Yes. Yeah, because he's actually happy.
Yeah, because he's actually happy, and we're not hearing the wailing of a tortured soul.
Yes.
Unless we are, and that's just his way of expressing himself.
Yeah, carry on.
So once again, we're not going to get any deeper into Medea Goes to Jail, other than to say that the movie, eventually Medea does go to jail, and when the jail sequence happens, you would expect there to be some fish out of water humor involving, Medea kind of using her tough, streetwise side to kind of gain power in the jail, and that sort of happens. But somehow, in all of this, throughout this entire film, all I could think was, you know what? Ernest went to jail in the early 90s, and actually I think that might have been like the late 80s. And guess what? First of all, he went to jail much quicker in the movie, and second, they actually did those fish out of water jokes better. I don't know. I mean, Ernest Goes to Jail is not a good movie, but it at least keeps your attention and has some funny moments. This really, I'm spent on that.
It just it's not funny. That's as simple as it gets. Again, it's a movie called Medea Goes to Jail, and the cover art has Medea in her prison garb and, standing against a lineup wall. And then again, this is a 103-minute movie, and then Medea doesn't go to jail until 71 minutes into it.
A few of the moments in this movie that I will go ahead and say, first of all, this movie has so many fucking cameos. You have the members of The View are in it. We mentioned Phil McGraw. Frickin' Judge Mathis plays an actual judge as opposed to a fake judge for TV. Al Sharpton shows up in the movie at one point. Steve Harvey's in the movie at one point.
Viola Davis?
yeah, Viola freaking Davis is in the movie, and she does her acting thing. Sofia Vergara, who normally I'm not a fan of, is actually one of the slightly more interesting elements in this movie, and she plays a psychotic man killer who's in jail with Medea.
Yeah, that she was all right. And then who is the cell the other prison the person in prison that Medea clashed with a little bit, the blonde.
Oh, gee, I forget her name.
It doesn't. In any case, there's this. It was Donna, I think, right? No, it
Maybe.
wasn't Donna. Anyway, just to move on, there's another inmate in this prison who there are many jokes made about this character looking like a dude and being a dude.
Oh, that Robin Coleman as Big Sal.
Big Sal, right? You know, it's
Yeah,
like
I just looked her up. She's a bodybuilder, so
yeah, and I'm not really sure where the jokes come from. Like, the joke doesn't really work at all.
well, I think the joke is that she's supposed to be kind of mannish, and
But why didn't they just have a man play it, like Tyler Perry? Like, Tyler Perry is Medea. That's what I'm saying. Is
well, yeah. The irony there is she's supposed to be the mannish one when Tyler Perry is in fact a man playing Medea. So that kind of throws things off.
yeah, it doesn't really work.
I mean, to be fair, I mean she certainly fits the bill. She's a huge woman, like muscular, not like not big, but muscular, and so it's a very imposing presence. But I don't know. We're talking about positive things in a movie that ultimately is
Anything but.
Yeah, that's about. I was just pulling up the Wikipedia page randomly, and I like what it says here. Sam Adams of the Chicago Tribune wrote, "If the movie is a mess, it's a purposeful mess." I disagree with that.
Yeah, I don't think it's Tyler Perry does not intentionally make bad movies.
Speaking of intentionally made bad movies, we're going to move to Medea's Witness Protection.
Intentionally badly made movies.
Yeah. So
in any case, yeah. The next one. Wait.
Yeah.
When did we watch after that?
Oh, Big Happy Family came first in our viewing, I guess. So, well, here's the thing. I don't think it matters at this point because both of these movies were these were really the nadir of our experience. We watched both of these movies back to back.
Yes.
And it was the most painful slog that I think I've ever experienced in terms of.
Oh, you know what? There's another thing. Medea goes to jail for what? Lifting up a lady's car with a forklift and dropping it?
Right.
She does so much other shit in this franchise. They're way more deserving of jail time. Oh,
yeah. In Family Reunion, she crashes through the wall of a fast food restaurant and, like, physically assaults a woman.
In Christmas, she steals merchandise and money out of a register from the department store she was had a brief job at.
Yeah, so there's no excuse for them just deciding, oh, now she's going to jail. So we'll go ahead and do Big Happy Family first. This might be the most hateful spurning of the movies. It's called Medea's Big Happy Family, and to be fair, that's actually the funniest joke of the movie, because this is a family of hateful, awful women and their men and sons who tolerate it.
Yes.
And that's not my statement on the movie. That's what the movie does. That's what the movie's about. So the movie follows as this lady named Aunt Bam finds out that her cancer has returned and now she's basically dying, and she wants desperately to tell her entire extended family the news at the same time. She wants to have a family dinner where they all get together and she breaks the news to them as gently as possible, which is, I think, an admirable and simple request.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is, one of her daughters, Kimberly, is a horrible human being who does nothing but berate that berates her mother for really no particular real reason. They never establish why she's angry at her mother. Especially, there's a reveal at the end of the movie that is supposed to give some sort of an explanation for it, and instead it just makes her look that much worse because the person she's berating isn't even like responsible for what happened to her in any shape or form.
Not to mention he's kind,
right?
And he puts up with that shit all the time. Then
you have Byron, who is the teenage, teenage to 20-something kid, played by Bow Wow, Lil Bow Wow. I know he's no longer called Lil Bow Wow, but he's Lil Bow Wow forever.
He's always Lil Bow Wow. Because his real name is Shad Moss. Shad S-H, not C-H.
Yep. So Shad Moss, Lil Bow Wow, Byron, he's caught between two women. He has a baby mama who he had a one-night stand with and ended up impregnating, and the baby mama is a horrible money-grubbing child support fiend who doesn't really help. There's even a line in the movie where Byron says that he's bought clothing for their baby, and then what she'll do is she'll sell the clothing on the streets in order to buy shit for herself.
Yeah.
So, meanwhile, she continually nags him for money. And when I say nag, Byron, was that annoying?
Oh, so bad.
Get fucking used to hearing that bullshit through the entire movie over and over and over again. She's
like, Byron.
Oh, God. And it goes on. And
you know what's the worst part about that is that other characters acknowledge how fucking annoying that is. Like, it's not just a thing that her character does. The other people in the diegetic universe of this film tell her to knock it off, and she still does it.
Right. It's annoying in every sense of the term. They don't even... They comment that she does it for much longer than any human being should. So Tyler Perry was fully aware that this was not a very, that this was annoying, but they kept doing it.
Yeah.
Fuck this movie for that. Meanwhile, Byron's girlfriend is also nagging him for money and saying, you gotta take care of me. I gotta be kept, she says. Which, I'm just gonna say this straight up to the world at large, that if someone tells you, if someone that you are falling in love with or dating says, I've got to be kept, dump their ass like an entire drawer full of stinky cheese. Just get the fuck rid of it. You do not need that in your life.
Yeah.
No one needs that. Exactly. I need to be kept.
And how does she tell him he needs to make money? Does she want him to get a job?
Nope. She wants him to sell drugs on the street because he's not making enough money. So you've got to sell drugs to. So he's got Bow Wow really has the worst conundrum in this movie because he has on one hand a baby mama who wants him who wants money and in fact knows that he's selling drugs again and is using it as like a way to squeeze out more child support, and a girlfriend who also wants him to sell drugs. And it's... And to top it all off, then there's that subplot involving that one guy who's like a mechanic and his wife who in one scene just really, really lets him have it, and they never explain it or really, I mean, they didn't even really explain the purpose of that scene in the movie, did they? She's the one with the two kids who are awful human beings too. Oh wait, that's like every Tyler Perry movie.
They don't really touch on that family at all.
Yeah, they appear here and there, and the problem is there's about 8 different subplots to this thing, and keeping track of all of them is not exactly the easiest thing to do. The movie ends with them being on the Maury Povich show, by the way. So,
yeah. I'd be curious how long the stage production version is. I don't see it on here. And maybe if that long form multiple subplot thing works better on the stage, or if it has more breathing room. I would imagine the stage is probably a couple hours long.
Yeah, maybe.
Not that I care, but yeah, the movie ends on the Maury Povich show because Mr. Brown thinks that he might not be the dad of one of the characters, and then it's just dumb. But,
it's a play off of the then popular internet meme of "You are not the father," in which, because what Maury Povich used to do on his show all the time was have like blood tests to prove whether a person's the father or not. And and at the time when this movie came out, because Big Happy Family came out in 2011, there was this internet meme where someone had taken "You Are Not the Father" and then cut to like some hip hop music blasting and the shot of this guy who famously on the show did like a break dance when he found out he wasn't the father.
They had a play on that too with remember, Guile from Street Fighter. They had the Guile theme goes with everything.
Right.
They played that on that as well. Mm-hmm. But that was funny years ago. I mean, something that belongs in a movie.
As with every instance in which an internet meme is brought up in a movie, which, by the way, we forgot to mention that "Hide Your Wife, Hide Your Kids," and what's it?
Ain't Nobody Got Time for That.
Ain't Nobody Got Time for That is name checked. That they bring those cameos into Christmas.
Yeah. So just as like people in the background being interviewed, and they just literally say their line and then that's it. Like
exactly. Well, because you know what, that's really all they're good for in Tyler Perry's eyes. That one-time joke that people laugh at for. It's very exploitive, really.
It is.
It makes me think of did you ever watch the show Party Down?
Oh yeah, I love Party Down.
Okay, so every time Adam Scott meets someone who knows that he was in that one commercial, and they make him say, "Are we having fun yet?" And every time he says it over the course of those 2 seasons of that show, he just looks more and more downtrodden at the fact that he's stuck. That is what he is going to be for the rest of his life, is the "Are we having fun yet" guy.
Yeah.
And so that's what Tyler Perry's doing to these people.
Yeah, somebody will walk up to them on the street and they're like, "Oh, do the thing. I know you from the Facebook video. Do the thing." Mm-hmm. But anyway,
so
the Big Happy Family. What are some? It just I'm trying to just find words for it. I mean,
I don't have much else to say about it. It's a hateful movie, and of all of these, it's the one that I would recommend to see the least, because it is just a painful viewing experience where you don't like anyone in the movie. Medea as a character is really only in it to occasionally tell someone off, and she doesn't do it near enough because these are characters who need to have their ass beat.
Yeah. I would have to agree that this is probably the least of the films that we watched. And that's pretty damn low. And the movie even fails to execute the big family coming together with dysfunction thing. It's just all these horrible caricatures are forced together and then like you'd think that the dinner table sequence would be the centerpiece of the film, where the culmination where everybody gets together and skeletons get pulled out of the closet. But no, this is a maybe 15-minute sequence in the end of the second act.
Yeah. If you're going to have a movie be about this person who wants to have a family dinner and they finally do have the family dinner, what needs to happen is that needs to be the sequence in which everything comes to a head. And a couple things happen, but instead they just introduce an entire new plot thread of suddenly this one person Bow Wow finds out he's actually not the youngest son of Aunt Bam. Instead, he is the the daughter of his sister Kimberly, who was raped at one point, and there's literally no reason for that scene, for that to exist within this movie other than to make people go, oh!
How many rape plot twists has Tyler Perry done in his movies? At least 2 or 3, right?
Let's see. So there's
this one.
There's this one, and then there's the one in Family Reunion for sure.
Yep.
I don't think there is one in. There isn't one in Christmas. There is not one in Witness Protection.
No, there was one in Christmas.
Oh, is there?
Wasn't Irene racist against white people because?
Oh yeah, because she was raped.
Yeah, she's raped.
Okay,
by white
yeah,
people.
you're right. God damn it. So there was a rape
plot twist.
Rape plot twist.
Man, like there's no need. I mean, Irene could have any other reason for hating white people.
I'm literally going through all of the Medea movies Wikipedia pages and typing the word rape with like the Finder to see. Okay, so yeah, Family Reunion. We have confirmed. Let's see if Meet the Browns, because we didn't see that one. Let's see if that has rape involved.
I would bet. Well, let's see.
Nope.
I was going to say, yeah, that's a Tyler Perry movie. I would bet money that The Family That Prays has one.
Okay, so Medea goes to jail. Oh, wait a second. So Candy apparently.
Oh my God, you're right.
Raped. Yeah, Candy was gang raped. So.
And that's why the lawyer guy felt bad and was trying so hard to help her, because he felt bad about not stopping it when they were in school. I forgot about that one too. Oh my God.
Yeah, I Can Do Bad All by Myself is another movie Medea's in, and there's apparently a attempted rape in that movie. So I don't. God. So
Tyler Perry has a very shallow well from which he draws for his melodrama.
Witness Protection does not have a rape subplot, as far as I can remember, and I just looked up in the. Okay, did Boo and Medea Halloween have rape involved? Doesn't say here, so I don't think so.
It near statutory rape.
Oh, okay. So near,
except that it's 2 consenting people, and then as soon as the guy learns that she's underage, he freaks out and leaves.
All right, so I went through them all. Actually, I'm almost afraid to try this one, because there's also the 2015 direct-to-video animated movie Medea's Tough Love. Okay. So, okay, good. It's not involved, because that one's clearly aimed towards children, and that would be horrifying.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, we totally have to watch this movie at some point.
We do. We could do it tonight.
No, fuck no. I can't take it.
Why not?
You know what? Let's save this for like a really special occasion, like Easter or something.
I don't know if it's really worth that kind of pedestal.
I just can't take another Medea movie right now.
You don't want to talk about Medea for an hour and a half and then watch another Medea movie that's an hour and a half?
No.
Speaking of running time, man, these motherfuckers are almost 2 hours each, these movies.
You know what? Hold on a second. Medea's Tough Love is 64 minutes long.
Oh, that's good. Thank God. Yeah, most of these are at least an hour 40, although like Family Reunion was pushing to, it's an hour and like 49 minutes long.
Yeah, that's it just gives me the willies thinking.
Oh,
but they charge you the full amount for renting it, so yeah. Here's the great part of it, though. You know, the great part of it is if you look at the label on the DVD for Medea's Tough Love, the G in tough does not look like a G. It looks like a C. So it looks like Medea's Touch Love. And it's a picture of Medea holding 2 children in her arms.
Oh, God.
Yeah. That's...
Wow, yeah. It kind of does, doesn't it?
I know. That's kind of amazing.
That cover art gives me a very unpleasant Adam Sandler's 8 Crazy Nights vibe.
Yes. The only difference being as obnoxious as Medea's voice can be, I find it hard to believe that it could be nearly as obnoxious as Adam Sandler doing that old man voice.
No, nothing is that bad at all. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll watch it at some point.
So Medea's witness protection is on paper. Medea's witness protection seems like Tyler Perry's attempt to commercialize the Medea character and make it a appeal to a larger swath of audiences by bringing in a white character as essentially the lead, because Eugene Levy had second billing next to Tyler Perry. And for his part, Eugene Levy does try his best in this movie. In the movie, Eugene Levy plays George Needleman, a CFO, Chief Financial Officer of a major company that is apparently crumbling because of a Ponzi scheme.
And the movie mentions a Ponzi scheme multiple times, but clearly has no clue what that actually is.
Yeah, this movie, drink every time the word Ponzi is used.
Yes.
Because that will get you where you need to go, and then some.
Yeah, it's... yeah, I mean, really, like, this movie does what some other comedy films do, in which a Ponzi scheme is just a generalized bad thing that companies do that eventually loses them all their money and they have to shut down.
Right. Well, the thing about a Ponzi scheme is that at a very simple level, it's just an investment scheme in which a person is paying returns to investors from capital that's made by newer investors. It's basically just a faith-based investment operation where the more investors you bring into it, the more money you will make for the top tiers of the company. And that's not at all the way they described the way this company was operating. And because they don't go into too much detail, you get the feeling that Tyler Perry has no idea what a Ponzi game is. And so anyway, needless to say, what ends up happening is George Needleman, which is probably the second or third most Jewish sounding name I've ever heard, he winds up being put into the witness protection program, and that witness protection program apparently allows him to spend time with the prosecutors, like the prosecutor who's played by Tyler Perry, by the way, so it doesn't get confusing at all here. Ends up like saying, yeah, stay at my family's house, because that's witness protection. You'd think,
yeah.
Wouldn't you think that, like, if a criminal organization is trying to find a witness, the first place they will look is the relatives of everyone involved in the prosecution of the case?
Yes, that's accurate. Not to mention it's the fucking mob. They can figure it out.
Yeah, it's not exactly the best choice, but I don't know. Maybe their plan was to hide in plain sight, because it's based on the premise that Eugene Levy and his family are about the whitest people in the world, and no one would buy that these white people would move in with a family of black people.
Yes,
and that's pretty much the joke that the rest of the movie is premised on. And that's it.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to say about it. There's
a subplot involving Eugene Levy's elderly mother, who's incredibly racist and keeps saying the word Negro over and over again.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, Negroes. She says it a lot. That's her character. That's Doris Roberts.
I think I blocked out a lot of the second half, because this is one of the least offensive of Tyler Perry films, in that it has the fewest number of just awful characters.
Yeah, I think
it's incredibly boring as a result.
What makes the movie somewhat work better than these other movies, and that's not to say that it works, is the fact that you do have a few a few actors who are clearly like trying their ass off to make the movie interesting. Medea does get some of her better lines in this movie than she has in some of the previous films. Eugene Levy is genuinely trying hard to make his character both dramatic and humorous at the same time. And his wide-eyed look as a person who's just shocked that he's going through the situation he's going through is genuinely something. I'm not saying it's good or bad. It's, you know, he worked with what he had to work with. So
yes, he did.
And then in a very small role, the recently passed away actor John Amos, who's not dead. I just totally called him out as being dead when he's not. So that's nice of me. I just assumed that it was 2016 and an actor who I'm a fan of probably died. But but John Amos plays a pastor in the movie, and it's good to see him keeping on working. Mm-hmm. If you don't know John Amos, he had a role on quite a few shows like Good Times and Mary Tyler Moore and Roots, things like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, Medea's family reunion.
The first Medea movie, right?
The first movie with Medea in the title. The first movie in which Medea appeared was Diary of a Mad Black Woman. This movie is a sequel to that, although my understanding is that Medea's appearances in Diary of a Mad Black Woman are not quite as common.
I saw that movie. She's in like 2, maybe 3 scenes.
Yeah. Which, to be fair, Medea does not appear in any of these, quote, Medea movies nearly as much as you would expect.
Yeah. I mean, the Witness Protection is maybe the only one that is sort of Medea-centric.
Yeah, I guess Christmas, she's in quite a bit of Christmas.
Yeah, Christmas and Halloween, for sure. In fact, Halloween probably the most.
Maybe in these recent ones, Tyler Perry has realized that people don't care about your subplot that is full of melodrama. So focus a little bit more on, you know, what people go to laugh at.
In fact, yeah, I would say that Medea is the main character of Halloween because that one centers around her being sent to watch Brian, the real Tyler Perry character, his daughter, so she doesn't sneak out to the Halloween party for the night. And the kids have an idea to scare Medea and her friends so badly they go to bed early so then they can sneak out. So even these side characters occupy the same space as Medea. But
yeah, so
that's neither here nor there. As far as family reunion, we once again have the abusive relationship. This time it's the man who's abusive and the woman who's, the victim. But of course, they still don't waste much time painting another portrait of a foul woman character. And yes. That would be the abused girl's mother.
Well, because here's the thing: behind any abusive man, there is an older woman who's egging him on. That's Tyler Perry in a nutshell.
Yeah, and they especially get kind of egregious with this one.
Well, Family Reunion has a really, really awkward conundrum in that on one hand you have a plot involving a woman who's due to marry this successful businessman, and the man is at turns in public he's very nice to her. In private he smacks her around a lot.
Yes,
and the movie depicts this as a horrible, deplorable thing. Meanwhile, Medea is in what might be the worst decision by a judge ever. A judge sentences Medea to taking on a foster child, which
yes,
that's totally something you can do, right?
Yeah.
that you're sentencing. So in criminal court, you're sentencing someone to more responsibility. I don't even know where to start with that.
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess they just
not just more, but the responsibility of a little human being.
they just hand off kids to people.
Exactly.
Especially people of interest who are about to go to jail. It's like, you know what? Instead of jail, here's a kid.
And if you screw up again, you're going back to jail. It's like, okay. And by the way, Medea's way of taking this child who's sort of a problem child and teaching her to behave is smacking her around.
Yep.
So in between these scenes where you're taught that abuse is a bad thing, you are also taught that, abuse against children's okay because that makes them learn.
Yeah, which is ironically the justification that the lady's mom uses for her husband or her fiance beating her.
Yeah.
She's basically like, well, you got to stop doing stuff that makes him mad.
Now, it would be one thing if this movie was headed to some sort of central thing where where Medea realizes the errors of her ways as well. Like, that would be interesting.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know, don't beat kids.
Or don't beat anyone. How about that?
Don't beat anyone. Yeah, just maybe not be a dick.
Yeah, don't be a dick is not a message of any of these movies. The message tends to be believe in Jesus and forgive people who do horrible things against you.
But also fight back sometimes.
Yeah, but fight back. Because fighting back against those who bully you is always going to mean you will win out.
Not to mention, not just children. I think choke a hoe or choke somebody is the Medea threatens to choke somebody in like every single movie she's in.
Yeah, exactly.
Or beat someone or whatever. Like, she's basically a bully who sometimes she's a bully that has some wisdom and sometimes some nice things to say.
Yeah, see, Medea's a bully with a heart of gold versus a bully who is, just a bully to be mean. Medea, to be fair, is only a bully to those who are kind of jerkish to begin with.
Yeah. I also just now glanced back at Medea Christmas. Eileen was not raped. Her husband left her for a white woman.
There was totally a rape thing involved in that, though.
Was there? Okay, I'm looking at the Wikipedia. I don't remember. I don't want to spend the money to watch it again.
Hold on. I'm going back to it. We need to resolve this. The great rape debate.
Oh God.
It's not. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't say anything in the Christmas thing, but I'm pretty sure there was a line somewhere in a Medea Christmas where Eileen was talking about like something involving white people abusing her or something like that.
Yeah, I feel that way too. But yeah, I mean, I don't know why he has to keep introducing that into his movies because it's really not a necessary. Well, A, you don't really need to have that in movies anyway, unless it's crucial to the plot. And B,
the word rape is an instant ticket to Drama Town, though.
Yeah, and you don't. It's completely unnecessary in these movies because the movie's drama coasts along just fine for the most part. And then they pull the rape card and be like, oh, it's even worse than you thought because drama.
Exactly.
You need an extra reason to make you feel bad.
So we did not end up watching Boo! Medea Halloween because it's not yet available as VOD rental. And I myself would not watch another Medea film voluntarily. It would take quite a bit to do it.
I will tell you that it's probably the best one.
That's not helping.
Yeah.
Maybe this Halloween we'll drag it out and do another episode of this.
Yes, probably.
But I will never watch another movie like this without having some compelling reason to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm certainly not watching any of his non-Medea films.
Oh, no, those are even worse. There's not even comedy in those. I mean, tonally, they work because it's just sadness all the time. And yeah, there's no Medea to just kind of bring out some goofiness now and then. It's just fucking dramatic completely 100% of the time. And just, I don't know. Yeah, these movies suck. They're terrible.
The end.
So